I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Hi, everybody. Ron here from The Truth About Addiction. I don't know where you guys are today, but it's a beautiful winter's day here. It feels like winter already. But, mate, today we have a special guest, Todd Innis. Toddy's a brave man who talks about his recovery and his demons and what he's been through. And as I said to Todd off screen, everyone knows that watches my podcast. I just like to hear people talk their truth, because my company's called The Truth About Addiction. So welcome, Toddy. Welcome to The Truth About Addiction, mate. And thank you for coming on our show.
Mate, couldn't be more blessed, mate. Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, thanks, brother. So what's the Todd story, brother?
Todd story. Well, if we're talking addiction.
Yep.
All right. There's many things that I'm currently doing with my company called Love Your Mind Australia, Ron. And it's a mindset and wellbeing company. And yes, I'm out in the community and organisations, schools, doing some athlete development stuff, all with all the learnings that I've gone through and the challenges I've faced, and just teaching people how to approach life with a growth mindset. And then, I've got this wellbeing model that I live by that I try and educate guys on as well. And I'm finding I'm having a fair bit of success with it at the moment. So I'm loving it.
Yeah, sweet. The name of your company is Love Your Mind Australia.
Love Your Mind Australia. That's me.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. So you can find me there on Instagram, or you can find me on the website, loveyourmindaustralia.com.au, and see what I'm doing.
Yeah, cool. I'll check them out after this, mate.
Good on you, mate. So look, there's many stories, that as we've all got a story, but if we're talking specifically addiction, that's something that I can relate to.
Yep.
And addiction for me, I guess it started in my later teen years, Ron, when I sort of found those father figures in my life that I was sort of searching for my whole life. I found older sort of guys that were sort of heavy sort of blokes, I guess, in the community that people sort of feared. And I'd sort of been searching for that, growing up, to sort of feel that type of comfort, I guess. And they were caught up in doing the wrong thing. And so it wasn't long before I sort of was doing the wrong thing myself. And it wasn't too long before it sort of grabbed the fucking hold of me too, mate, to be honest.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you can't go out and have a drink at the pub without, someone slipping your bag here and there, or, you're on the fucking pills before you know it. And you can't go and socialise normally without it because you're always on it. And, it starts fucking with your mental health, mate. All of a sudden you're starting to have these downers through the week, and wondering why you're feeling so depressed and flat all the time. So your only option is to go and get back on it to feel good again.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was a bit of a continuation through my 20s. Once my rugby league dream was over of trying to make it in the NRL, I didn't have anyone to sort of answer to anymore. I could just do whatever I wanted to do, and I guess the disappointment of that and the realization I wasn't going to be who I thought I was going to be just led to the addictions. And before you know it, I was caught up on drug charges, and I had to face up to those. And at the time I was doing a bit of kids active programming in the local schools, so I was in the schools. So once the arrest happened, there was quite a lot of talk in the community, a lot of backlash. My name was sort of mud, and my family sort of copped a lot of that, my young kids and my wife. And that was tough too, mate. So what did I do? I shut the blinds and shut the doors and let the addiction kick off again to a whole new level. I couldn't go out in the community. I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't go to work. Any money that we'd saved, I was using. I was back on the coke again pretty heavily, drinking excessively to try and balance that high and that low out. Skipping school pickups because I couldn't function and get out of the house, so I'd have to get friends to pick up the kids from school. Constantly being told by my wife that she was packing up and leaving and that, but You know, I just thought, oh, I can beat this whenever I'm ready. I'll just stop whenever I choose. But mate, I'd go for a walk in the morning. I couldn't wait to get home to have a fucking bump to mow the lawn or put the washing out or fucking water the fucking plants outside. You know what I mean? If I had nasty thoughts, mate, I couldn't wait to ring someone up to see if they could spot us a bag. And before you knew it, I was in debt. You know, I was owing money left, right, and centre. And in my mind, I was thinking I had ways to get it back. You know, I was creating all these scenarios and businesses I was going to start and companies, and I can get this money back. Just lend me a quick couple of grand. I'll get a ball. I'll do this and that. And mate, it come to a head. It come to a head. I was driving to a place called Redhead Lookout up here in Newcastle, and there's a big platform where a lot of people take their lives. And I'm so glad I didn't do it, but I wanted to go up there, not to commit suicide. I didn't think I was going to do it. I just wanted to see what it felt like, to see if I felt something different. So I did that, and I got out on this ledge, and I was looking around, and for some reason I just started thinking about all the things that I'd learned by beating child sex abuse, extremely violent father, and watching domestic violence happen with my mum, how I beat depression the first time in my early 20s. And I started thinking, there's a way out of this, but the only way out of it's through me. I can do this. I'm just going to give it, I call it 21 days that I do now, 21-day challenge. I'm just going to give myself 3 weeks, because I knew that 1 week would take time to get used to something. 2 weeks can create a routine. And then 3 weeks from there is you've developed a habit. So if I'm just giving myself 3 weeks, and I did. I just went 3 weeks without any gear. I just went back to the gym every morning. I changed my foods and my diets up. So I started creating my own diets. I started, apologising and trying to make amends with my family, my wife. I went and fronted up to all the debts that I owed and explained to people that the addiction had got hold of me and that I had plans on getting the money back to them in the future, but I was going to do it the right way. And so I started feeling good about myself. I got some self-worth back. And I actually got, my mate gave me a job out in the civil game out at a power station out here driving trucks. So I got out of the community, which was the best thing for me too, because I was no longer that bloke was charged with drugs in the community. And mate, sure enough, there was a stabbing and a triple murder soon after that. So I was small news anyway, not long after. So that passed, and mate, I went on a run, 35. I went on a run for 3 years like that and built everything back up. All my positive relationships, my self-worth, my body, my mind, my sleep, my relationships. And then just slowly at Christmas parties here and there and the odd stuff, you sort of you succumb to the weakness a bit. So to say that I'm totally clean and fully recovered would be a lie, but I certainly know the difference now between a good time and a great time. I can socialise normally without it and go home now without actually having to go and chase it, because the consequences for me from that addiction, they don't compare to the 10 minutes of joy I might feel.
Yeah. So just quickly touching on coke, was your drug of choice or your drug of no choice?
It's definitely the drug of choice, mate. It was definitely the one. Well, especially the first 2 bumps. They certainly made me feel and escape anything that I had. But then after that, it was just chasing the dragon. It was just, I couldn't get back to that level. And you're just frying your brain and your body, and but you can't stop because you don't want to go through that transition period.
Yeah, it's sort of like this day and age now, a lot of the people I treat are blokes that have had good lives, like as far as they've been healthy, trained, had a sport, been on the piss with their mates. Someone pulls out a bag, do a few lines, and then they realise, like, wait a minute, this is fun. Yeah. And all of a sudden the fun's gone and we're still chasing the bag and we're still chasing the lines, and usually comes with a lot of times comes to punt too. They get on the pokies.
Mate.
They're at the club, and that's part of the addiction as well, you know. Fucking.
Well, that's the thing, Russ. This is probably something I didn't go into enough. Was you obviously you've had your few lines, you've had a few bumps, but the first thing you want to do is you want to soften your fucking dry mouth. So you're smashing the grog, you know, flat out. Just you can't drink quick enough. So whatever that chemical does to your brain, it turns a non-drinker into a fucking fish.
Yeah.
And then to keep your hands in that active and your fucking mind in that active, because it's in fast forward, you go to the pokies or you go to the horses, or you can't get on enough. So there's those two addictions coming into it too. And then at the end of the night, when you can't fucking sleep, there's the prescription drugs that come into it. So you're looking to take the high to the low without actually facing up to it. Sedate yourself.
And in between those two, there's the porn.
Oh, mate.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a fucking cycle.
Bro, it's that's exactly what it is, and that's another thing, you know, like marital affairs and shit like that. You put your marriage under because you're addicted to this fucking stupid drug.
Yeah, there's a story that I tell a lot of people. The Dalai Lama, because Buddhism believes in no drugs and no killing and no fucking out of marriage, no playing up on your missus and all that sort of stuff. And the Dalai Lama was doing a big class of 1,000 students. And he said to them on the Friday night, he said, I want you to go home on the weekend. He said, over the weekend, you got to think about, you have to break one of our dharmas, one of our rules. He said, either drink alcohol, you kill the goat next door, or you have sex with the next door neighbour's wife. Which one's the worst? And they all come back on the Monday. And he said, okay, I want everyone to put their hand up who drank alcohol. Who killed the goat? About 20 people put their hand up. Well, you put your hand up with how many of you had sex with the missus next door, 50 blokes put their hands up. But I want you to put your hands up, everyone who drank. Like fucking 99.9% of them put their hands up. Yeah. Said, okay, after you got drunk and you killed the goat and you fucked the lady next door, what did you do then?
That's right.
Because you could have had sex with her and that would have been enough. You could have killed the goat and that would have been enough. But once you drank alcohol, you had sex with the woman next door and you killed the goat.
Mate, that is great advice. And that's exactly right. It's so true.
I tell everybody that story and they all go like, wow, and that's a true story,
yeah.
As soon as we put a chemical in our body, we can no longer guarantee our behavior.
Yes, agreed.
That's how the first question I ask somebody is, once you put a chemical in your body, can you guarantee your behavior? If they say no, I say, okay, you're allergic to drugs. And to me, alcohol is a drug.
Yeah, it's the worst drug.
Yeah, it's legalized. It's fucking all that bullshit. It's a drug.
Well, mate, you look at like your one punches. That's obviously coming from alcoholism. Of
course,
that doesn't come from blokes that are fucking smoking the weed or that. You know what I mean? Like it's coming from a legalized drug.
Yeah.
Domestic violence, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, a lot of it's from alcohol.
See, when I was around, cocaine wasn't something. It wasn't a drug in Australia.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
We robbed chemists and they had coke in there, pure coke.
Yeah, right.
Operations and mate, I tried coke once in my life. I didn't like it.
Yeah, right. Fuck, see, that's.
I was a heroin addict.
Yeah. Okay.
I loved smack. I loved heroin because heroin was the drug of the 60s and 70s.
Yep.
So I started using in the 70s and, marijuana and pot and fucking hash and shit like that. But the reality is I've seen over the last 30 years, 35 years, the cocaine's become the socially acceptable drug. Like when Wendell Saylor got pinched with it, he got pinched with the recreational drug. When I got pinched with a narcotic.
Yeah, okay.
So, there's a different tier of who gets pinched and what you get charged with.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Wendell Saylor got pinched with it and it was a recreational drug. I got pinched with trying to import it and mine was a fucking, a narcotic that was killing people and I got 18 years,
Fuck.
So, but, mate, I'm not a victim and I don't pretend to be. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Yep, agree with you.
As we talked about off camera, there's a reason we use drugs usually, and it's usually because we're trying to cover something up. We don't feel whole.
Yeah.
There's something in our makeup that we've either, it's a trauma or a an abuse of some type, or a lacking.
Mm-hmm.
I was a boxer, and I wanted to go to the Olympics, and I got on the drink. Once I started the drink, my career went out the window. My training started fucking up, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be a champion boxer, but I had abuse in my family. My old man was abusing my sister and physically abusing me. I mean, bashing me, bashing my mother, super violent. So I had all this fear and terror deep inside me. And yet I was a bad guy. You know, I mean, like when I say I was a bad guy, I was a good guy doing bad things. I was brought up as a criminal.
Yep.
So I had this complete confusion that I could shoot you, but I couldn't walk down the street at night in the dark.
Yeah, right.
Unfounded fears. You know, I'd walk down the street like that. Unfounded fear, you know?
Yeah.
If I ever got into a fight, I always attacked the person quickly because I was afraid that I was going to get beaten.
Yes.
You know, and so I had this incredible amount of anger and fear built up inside of me, and I didn't know how to express it because we were brought up as kids. You don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
My old man smacked me, and I cried. He said, "I'll give you something to cry about. You can't, you know."
Yeah.
Give you worse.
Yeah.
And men didn't cry. Men didn't talk about the way they feel. My old man, I never heard my father say, "I love you" to my mother or to anyone else in our family in my whole life.
Yeah, it's fucked, isn't it?
You know what I mean? So we are very damaged, and it goes back generational. It really does. You know, probably his father and his father's father. My grandfather, I remember him as a saint, but I was a little kid. I was 14 when my grandfather died.
Yeah.
And he'd come back from the Second World War. So you can imagine the trauma that he went through in the Second World War. They weren't pushing buttons, killing each other. Those days, they were running up and sticking bayonets in each other. You know, so you got to remember it's intergenerational trauma that's come right through the line. That our parents have dragged this piece of crap with them that they've called being a parent with very little understanding. So, but my job was to break that cycle.
Yep.
And that's what I think you're trying to do now with your family and what you're doing is, you're trying to create an avenue for people to know that there is a way out.
There is, 100%. There's real merit there too, Ronnie, isn't there? Like when you can kick something like this and you can get on top of it, it's sort of like it's like a huge achievement. It's I guess it's what professional athletes would call the pinnacle of their sport.
Yeah, mate. Yep.
And the pinnacle for us is you're fighting something that, you're sort of up against the odds, and when you can get on top of it, and then you can go and help people with that and get them to get on top of it, there's not too much better, is there, for us normal people?
No, mate. I try to explain to people, money can't pay for the job I do. Really, if you're doing this just for money, you could never do it.
No, you wouldn't make money. No, you don't make money doing this.
If this was your motivation, but there is not enough money to pay you the amount of work you put in, the worry, the stress, and the devotion. I had the pleasure a couple of months ago of going. I got a phone call about a year and 2 months ago from a family in Melbourne. The father was a ex first grade footballer, very, very good AFL player.
Yep.
He at 16 he was playing with the men, playing first grade. Could have been, and then he had this bad injury, and retired and become a coach.
Yeah.
And he rang me up and he said, "Mate, can you talk to my son? I got a 17-year-old son who's dying. He's 6'1" and he's 40 kilos."
Oh fuck.
On the ice and on the net. He said he's dying. He's going to die. He said, "Please, mate, can you talk to him?" I said, "Organise a Zoom. We'll talk to him." Well, the kids celebrate his first year clean.
Fuck, good on you, mate. That's awesome.
2 months ago, good on him. And I went down and I presented him with his jumper. He played his first game of AFL 2 months ago.
See, what a story, mate. What a turnaround.
How do you put money on that?
Yeah, you don't. That's right.
Now, how do you put money on that?
That's right.
If that's the only person I ever helped in my whole life, that would be enough. But there's been a lot of people I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been clean 37 years, but I've been doing this recovery stint for 42 years. So I've seen hundreds of thousands of people come and go.
Mm.
And the ones that stay, mate, are the ones that keep giving to other people.
Yeah, yep.
Seriously.
And so, do you have a process, Ronnie, that you with people with addiction? What's the first step?
The first step is with me is to try to stop completely. I like total abstinence because what happens, what I find is people that try to drink socially go all right for a while, then they'll drink one night and someone will pull out a bag, and because their resistance is low, they've had a bad day, they've had a blue, whatever, thinks, oh, fuck it, I'll just have one.
Yep.
Can't have one.
No, you can't.
You can't have one. If you think you can have one, you're crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
I say insanity is making the same mistake and expecting different results.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what Albert Einstein said. Now, with people that suffer with addictions, I think that total abstinence is my answer, but it's not everybody's answer. I have friends who can still drink sociably. I can't. You have to work out which one you are.
Yeah, yeah. That's
and
right.
we do that by experience.
100%, mate. I was just about to say that.
But if we have a drink and then we have a couple of lines, and their life turns to shit again. So he goes, to me, it's not about the chemical. My addiction is not about the chemical. It's about something in me.
Mm.
And the chemical makes it worse.
Yep.
So what you talked about, the healing part of yourself, what we have to do anyway. Whether you're drinking or not drinking, you still have to front your demons from your past.
Yep.
You still have to work out why you were using and address those issues, whether it was trauma, abuse, lack of love, what you consider was a failure. It's all comes back to self-worth.
Yeah, 100%, mate, it does. Yep, I agree.
I think drug addiction is a form of self-abuse.
Yep.
Why would you put fucking kerosene in a Ferrari? You wouldn't.
No, that's right.
You wouldn't put kerosene in a Ferrari and then wonder why it's fucking blowing smoke and running like shit. We do it to our bodies. We poison. When we vomit, it's our body telling us that we've poisoned ourselves.
Yeah.
I explain to people, your body vomits because it's saying, your brain's going, oh my God, there's too much of this, whatever it is. It's the Coke or whether it's the alcohol or whatever it is, it's trying to get it out of you. That's why that's why you spew. It's trying to get rid of it. That's your body's mechanism of saying, you poisoned yourself, we need to get rid of the poison. What happens for me is that it's not about the poison. My brain poisons me. I don't have to put a chemical in me. So I have to start to understand that my brain can't be trusted.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a liar, a thief, and a cheat.
Yeah, yep.
And what I ask people is, would you let a liar, a thief, and a cheat live in your house? And everyone says, no. No. So why do you let one live in your head? And they go like, whoa, okay. And mine's even more stronger than that. My head told me to knock myself.
Yeah.
Many years ago, it told me that I'd be better off killing myself. I'm glad I didn't, because I've got a wonderful life and I've had a wonderful life for a long time.
Yeah.
But I actually planned it and was going to kill myself. Then
Yeah,
I
right.
an intervention where a God of mine not understanding, because I don't know who God is, I know that something out there loves me, understands me, and forgives me. That's really important.
Yeah, yeah.
The higher power's got to forgive you, because I believe that the traits that my higher power have are the traits that I need. So I needed love in my life because I was incapable of loving and being loved. If a girl said she loved me, I used to laugh to myself and think, oh my God, you haven't got a clue who you're talking to.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
I thought I was incapable of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't understand myself.
Yeah.
Never forgave myself. For lots of things, I never forgave myself.
I
never forgave myself for not knocking my father. I wanted to kill my old man. I asked my mum when I was 14, I said, when he comes home, I'm going to blow his head off. When the coppers come, you say he was beating you, and you know what my mum said? She didn't say, "Oh, don't kill your father." She said, "He's not worth going to jail for."
Yeah. Okay.
That was her answer to that. He's not worth
Mm,
going to jail for, which is
yeah,
pretty hectic when you think about it.
it
Um,
is.
you know, so we have to work out why we use. Then you touched on a lot of stuff subconsciously before about the healing of yourself, making amends
Hmm.
for your past so you can get on with your future.
Yep.
You can't walk around with a backpack full of fucking fear and sorrow and guilt and shame.
Nah, and that's been the best thing about launching this company, and not only helping it multiple people all the time, but you're helping yourself as you go as well.
Yep.
And you're gaining. It's like a fucking snowball, isn't it? Like you just keep getting bigger and stronger, and because you're practicing. Yeah, sorry, you're preaching so much. You're practicing much better habits yourself because you're more aware of how far you're coming.
And you become congruent. What I say is what I do.
Yeah.
I can't tell you to fucking not take drugs and me take drugs.
Yeah, that's right.
What a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't tell you, to get up in the morning and train if if I don't do it.
That's right.
So what it does, it keeps me accountable.
Yep. Yeah,
A
that's it.
big thing with recovery is accountability.
Yep.
So there's two people in this world of addiction. There's victims and victors. You have to choose which one you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm a winner, so I want to
Yeah.
be the victor.
Yeah, mate, absolutely.
I'm sick of being the victim. I was the victim in drug addiction. That's
Yep.
why I used drugs, because I thought I was the victim. There's no way out. I'm fucked and I'll never be anything and I'm fucking useless and I'm worthless and I'm hopeless. Because that's what my old man told me.
Yeah.
He told me
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
useless, worthless and hopeless. And guess what? I live a better life than he ever lived.
Yeah, yeah. Good on you, mate. That's awesome.
I have the most incredible wife and children. I got a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, mate. I'm 68.
Have you? Good
Yeah,
on you.
yeah. I remarried and I have this beautiful family. We live in a nice house. We have all the material things, but it's
Yep.
not the material things that I boast about. I have
Mm.
I have emotional stability and I have freedom from self.
Yeah.
I'm not obsessed with Ron anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not so significant. When I was running around as a gangster, even in recovery, I was still a gangster. Like I don't like that word gangster. I was still a criminal.
Yeah.
Gangster's fucking sure bullshit, that word. We're not the mafia.
Mm.
In Australia, we have organised crime. We don't have gangsters. We have organised crime and all that shit. And I enjoyed that. And it's like you guys. Like if you've been a professional sportsman, and I was talking about this to soldiers as well. When you stop being a sportsman or whatever it is, a soldier, we lose our identity because all of a sudden we're
Yeah.
doing what we was dreaming about, and then we think, who are we?
Mm.
So we start replacing that with going down the pub with the boys and having a few drinks. And the blokes that we're drinking with are usually blokes that were feeling the same as us. Who am I?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking mate, water finds its own level.
Mm.
I say it all the time, birds of a feather flock together.
Yep.
So all the losers sit in that corner of the pub and drink piss and do a few lines and talk about what they could have been, what they should have been.
Fucking hell, that's exactly right.
No? If you hang out, if you tell me the 5 people you hang out with, and I'll tell you where your future is.
Yeah. Yep.
If I hang out with shoplifters, guess who's putting something down his pants tomorrow?
Yeah, I know. That's exactly true, man.
So I don't associate with people who are using.
Yep.
I don't associate with people who aren't trying to do better in their lives. Because I want to be around people who are trying to help other people, like-minded people.
Mm.
When I sit down with a bunch of guys and I'm talking, we're talking about how do we make a better community?
Mm.
How do we do something for the youth?
Yeah, yep.
See, I've been trying to get into the NRL for years now. And when Benny Eichen took over from Brisbane, I contacted Ben and I said, because I live up in the Sunshine Coast,
Yeah.
and I said, I want to see if I can help you. So he got me to come down. I spoke to the Broncos. And they sort of missed the point. I don't really want to be working with the first graders. I want to be working with the kids.
Yeah.
because I'm about prevention, not cure.
Yeah.
Let's tell them that this is what's going to happen. So we give them a little roadmap of what's going to happen. Then when it starts to happen, they go like, whoa, wait a minute, that's what that silly old bastard said. And give them some choices.
Yeah.
Because you know what, mate? We didn't have a choice. We didn't have the education.
No.
So we walked in blindly, and then we created this fucking hell. And it's a lot harder to get out of hell than it is to get into it.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're the most qualified and educated to do prevention, because we actually lived it, went through it, and now have come out the other side to help.
I believe we're the only ones that are qualified,
mate. Yeah, well, I didn't want to say that, but you can.
fucking say it. I say it at conferences. I went to the Australian New Zealand Addiction Conference last month on the Gold Coast. And I walked away from there shaking my head, thinking, "What the fuck was that about?" They're clueless. There was only a couple of people there that shared, and they were on Zoom from America. Dr. Mate, what's his name, Mate? Garbo Mate or something. He's a guy from Canada. He's really good. The rest were just fucking, mate, just honestly blowing their trumpets, blowing their own trumpets. But they weren't telling anyone how to get clean.
Yeah.
Telling anyone, giving anyone solutions, you know. We all know what the problem is. The same as this youth crime thing at the moment. Okay, we've got a crime problem. How do we fix it? We put them in jail?
No.
I had my first shot in jail.
Yeah.
I'd never taken a drug when I went to prison.
Yeah, right.
I was a naughty boy and I deserved to go to jail and all that stuff. But I didn't deserve to get introduced to fucking drugs in 1972. You know, I got intravenously injected in jail by another inmate on the drug that the jail had prescribed me. Yeah, because they put me on psych drugs because I was 50 kilos or something, not even that, and, you know, 8 stone 6 and fucking 5'7", so I was really uncontrollable. Fucking my 4-year-old daughter could control me. You know, but they decided to put me on chemicals, which I believe helped with my addiction. And then the next 10 years was just out of control, fucking full-blown heroin addiction.
It's funny, I probably don't remember a lot of that 10 years either.
No, I don't really, mate. I remember, you know, bits and pieces of it. I remember all the good times, but I remember the last year, the hard times, because I never want to forget the shit.
Yeah.
Because I believe...
Ronnie, that's what if I am going for a social event, it can be anything. I always try and focus on just a little bit of self-reflection on how bad it actually got. Make sure that's my focus, because if I try and think about the good times, that might just be enough for me to go, okay, well, I can handle this one more time, and I can't. So I don't.
I said everybody follow it through. Remember the last week you're using when you against your will every day and hated yourself.
Yeah.
And broke promises to yourself and to the ones you loved.
Yeah.
That's what I want you. I say to everybody, that's what I want you to remember.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Remember that last week of how you felt.
Yeah.
You know, not where you lived or anything else, because, you know, people think social acceptability equals recovery. It doesn't.
No.
You know, I was living in a multi-million-dollar mansion once, 16 years clean, wishing that I wouldn't wake up tomorrow morning. But I was spiritually dead. It's about spiritual wealth, not physical wealth.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, you learn that as you go, don't you?
Yeah, mate. I have friends who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars whose life's a shit.
Yeah.
And when they start talking to me about their financial stuff, I say, listen, stop it.
Yeah.
I don't care about your wealth. I care about your health.
Yeah.
How are you going?
Yeah. Mate, I'm surprised none of those junior elite programs haven't used you in the NRL somewhere, mate, because you could certainly help a lot of those guys.
Well, I haven't given up, mate. I'm gonna approach Wayne Bennett. I know he's an ex-copper and he probably won't like me, but you know what? You never know, he might.
He might. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But because if he's like me, I don't like coppers, but I like him because he's honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a crim, I never worked with the coppers.
Yeah.
And I didn't like coppers that did work with the crims. And I didn't like crims who worked with the coppers because I'm straight.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. I was the most honest crook you ever meet.
Yeah, right.
I never pretended to be anything but a crook.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't fucking blow smoke up people's ass and pretend to be this fucking, you know, his spiritual guru was like, mate,
Mm.
you know, I didn't tell people what I was doing. I just told people, you know, like, mind your business.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not going to help you, why do you need to know, you know?
Mm.
But, mate, I love being clean. I love being in recovery. I love helping people. And that's why when I went back to jail, Todd, at 16 years clean, I went back to jail and I got sentenced to 18 years. As a federal prisoner, you got to do half. I ended up by doing 8 years. So I appealed it. And I thought, how am I going to stay clean in the jail system, which is all drugs these days?
Mm. Mm.
And I started helping people get clean.
Yeah, right.
And I
Wow.
started my own rehab in prison.
Oh, mate, good on
Then
you.
I ended up by getting the backing of the general manager of the prison to open a rehab in prison.
That's so good.
I had the general manager used to come down once a month and have lunch with me in the unit with all the other boys and comment how fucking great the unit was. Because we had 30 blokes and they're all clean. And these are blokes that have been in prison their whole lives.
Unheard of, isn't it?
So, yeah, it is unheard of. So if
Mm.
we can do that in there, there's no excuse why people out here can't get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't go into the systems of the football, of the tennis, of all the systems. It's not just the football. The football's got a big fucking hole in it because it's been a culture for a long, long time.
Yeah.
They get on the piss. Now we've got to go with the times. People go, oh, yeah, but they're on the drugs now. Well, wait a minute. The drugs weren't there when you were there. Otherwise, you would have been on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get the old footballers who are honest to go, mate, if they'd have been around when I was there, I would have been on them.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I did a podcast with Johnny Lewis the other day, the fight trainer.
Yeah.
He's been a mate of my family's all my life, you know, and, you know, he's one of the most beautiful human beings in the world. And, you know, we talk about addiction and Johnny's the most unfucking judgmental person I've ever met. And he says, you know, like, mate, I understand why most of these kids got on the drugs because he grew up in Erskineville.
Mm.
He said their parents were drinking, their
Yeah.
parents were on the drugs, and their parents were on the drink, and their parents were on the drink, and their parents were on the drink.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
ancestral, it's come through the thing. He said, and they were all physically violently bashed. See, my old man used to tell me, I used to bash my mum, and he used to say to me, if she acts like, if a woman acts like a bloke, treat her like a bloke.
Yeah, wow. Fucking hell.
And he'd say things like, oh, if they didn't have a pussy, they'd be tied out the back minding the car so they can't steal the car. Just that was the mentality he had, you know. So of course I was going to grow up damaged and,
Yep.
you know, really fucked up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's fucking hard, isn't it, to change your ways, you know, because it's ingrained in you.
It takes a lot of work, mate.
Yep.
And it takes courage. What you're doing now takes courage.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks.
You know? I know that, you know, coke and alcohol are your drugs. So what was your football career going to be? Was you playing AFL? I mean, NRL?
Yeah. So, rugby league was my thing.
Yep.
Yeah, just growing up in Newcastle was it's a rugby league town, so you know everyone wanted to be like the Johnses
I
or
was going to say the Johnsons boys, full of ecstasy.
yeah. We didn't know that till later on once we were old enough to go out with them. But you know, you just wanted to be yeah. That's all you thought. So you had a dream as a kid, and that's sort of what got you through those harder teen years when you know shit was going bad at home or at school or whatever. You just turned to rugby league and. You know, I got myself to reserve grade level with the North Sydney Bears. I never played first grade because I was too fucking smart, too busy cutting corners, too busy doing the wrong thing in the community, and
Yeah.
you know, socialising, looking for women rather than going and doing extra training, and
Yeah.
you know, just corner cutting not working. You know, just trying to be a fucking hero as well as a football star. And it was never going to mix. The traits that I had weren't up to NRL standard. And when I got told that I wasn't required to go back to training anymore, I couldn't understand why. And they said, it's not your skill, it's your personality and your behaviour off the field, mate. And we've given you enough warning.
Your commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. I often say to students and that now, like, you know, the difference between me and my brother was, you know, if there was 5 200-metre sprints to be done, well, he'd ask to do 6. I'd go over in the group and I'd do 3 and say I did 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And then wonder why I didn't get the fucking results that he did.
Yeah, I say all
You
the
know?
time, if they put the work in, don't expect the rewards.
people from school say to me now, Ronnie, they say, mate, what happened to you after school? You know, you had so much football ability. And I said, well, I was 99% committed. He was 100.
Yeah.
You know, truth. You know, that 1% in life, if you're prepared to go that 1% in anything, you'll get a reward. And
Yeah.
that's the same. And that's the same with your marriage. Same with your job. You know,
With everything.
everything, your kids, your family, the whole thing. And I've learned that. It took me 40 years to fucking learn it, but now I can teach it. And you're doing it too. Like, how good's every single day, living every day with all this knowledge now that we've fucked up so bad, but we can fix it. Now we can help people fix theirs. There's nothing better.
So I say, and you practice these principles in all your affairs, not just the drugs, in my relationship with everybody, whether it's the shopkeeper or my wife, I'm respectful.
Yep.
Whether it's the CEO of some massive company or the fucking guy washing the car downstairs, they get my respect. You know what I mean? Everyone's got my respect. Gangster to me is someone putting food on the table.
Yeah.
Someone respecting their wife and their children. You know, someone helping an old woman across the road. That's gangster.
Yeah.
If I go to a shopping centre and I see a trolley sitting out in the middle of the park where someone's left it, I'll just get it and push it back in the fucking where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, nice. Good on you.
It's just that it's got to start with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to be getting dirty and going, look at this lazy fucking bastard, left the trolley here. Just get it and push it back in there. And hopefully someone sees you do it and goes, oh, I'll do that next time.
Yeah. And you know what? Even if they don't see it, you know you've done it. And that's all when you look at yourself in the mirror each day.
100%. It's integrity.
Yep.
A word that not many people know what it is, you know, it's integrity, mate.
Yep.
Yeah, I was down the North Sydney Leeds Club the other week with Johnny Killick, the guy that escaped from prison in the helicopter.
Oh.
We were down there doing some work on my book. And what's his name? Taylor? He used to be the kicker?
Jason Taylor.
He was down there.
JT.
Yeah, funny, he was talking on that, you know. And he was a good little footballer. He trained hard too. But it's like everything. When I was fighting, I ran to the gym.
Yeah.
Trained. Then I ran home from the gym. The other guy was getting lifts. I wasn't getting a lift home. I ran home.
Yeah.
Till I found a drink. Then I lost my perspective. But I also had stuff going on at home which changed my life.
Yep.
And there's more to it, you know, than just me being lazy. Something happened in my life which really shattered my whole dreams and belief systems.
Yep.
And I became lost.
Yep.
And I thought I found the answer in chemicals.
Yeah, I know, mate. Yep.
And all I did was postpone the inevitable. You know, it was inevitable that I had to come back to find me.
Yep.
Otherwise, you kill yourself. That's why we have so many deaths with the young people these days.
Yep. And there's so many of us out there that can help. If they could just hang on for one more day, Ronnie, and just get in touch with us, and you know, just that one day extra, mate, can just make the difference. Because, mate, once you're gone. You don't get a chance to rectify it.
I always say a long-term solution for a short-term problem.
Yeah.
You know,
that's it.
I've had the misfortune of spending over 15 years in prison and watching people hang themselves because of their brains.
Yeah.
The brain put so much fear into them.
They can't
do uncertainty that they've hung themselves. Now, all those people, all they needed was for someone to say, mate, just hang in for one more day. That's all they needed. 90% of the people probably wouldn't have hung themselves if they'd have had one person to give them a little bit of hope.
Yep.
So we have to become hope dealers.
Yeah. That's
not dope dealers. We have to become hope dealers. And we have to start practicing that principle that just one more day, something may change.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we have hope, we have a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know hope anymore.
No, that's right.
Today I'm a doer. As I said, today I'm a victor, not a victim.
You are, mate, absolutely.
And today the most important thing in my life is to carry the message of hope to other people.
Yeah.
And I commend you on you having your strength to speak out. And I know you've got more story that you've that we don't have to go into on this forum, and you've done it in other forums, and I respect you, and I take my hat off to you for that too.
Thanks a lot, mate. Appreciate it.
Because you know what, mate? It'll die in the lightness of day. All this fucking shit that we've covered for 100 years of what we do. Human beings are the most horrible animal in the world. We do shit to each other that fucking I don't think any other fucking animal does. You know, honestly, we're fucking horrible. But it's up to us to change the world by changing ourselves.
Yeah. Well said, mate. 100%.
I can't change you. You can't change me, but you can encourage me to change. You can give me directions, but I still have to pick up the shovel and dig. You can say, Ronnie, look, there's gold over there in that little hole there. There's no good of you digging it up because it's yours.
Exactly right, mate.
I've got to do the work, mate. I've got to do the work.
The value is for guys that are struggling, that they're the ones that are doing this, not us doing it for them.
Exactly, mate. You can't do it for anyone else, right?
No, you can't, mate.
Love Your Mind Australia.
Yeah, mate, that's me. It's a daily thing, Ron, isn't it? Like, you still wake up every day and it's still a battle. You know, your mind wants to stay in bed. That's the first thing. You've got to get out.
So I'm in the process of writing a diary now, a 365-day journal.
There you go.
People can pick it up and they can read it. You know, like each morning they wake up and they go, oh, okay, it's the 1st of January. I wrote one this morning. This is, every day starts with a new beginning. The life I have today is one of choices. I choose to be drug-free. I choose to be loving. I choose to be honest. I choose to be free. I am grateful. I'm a grateful human being. Just as the sun rises every day, so do my opportunities. Today I am blessed.
Yeah, no, nice.
So that's the reading for today. So I have a reading for every single day of the week, 365 days a year. I'll publish that next year.
Yep.
As I said, I've got a book being published in August this year, and we'll have a signing down in Sydney in September. I'll send you an invitation. Come down.
I'd love to come, mate. That'd be
signing, mate.
Good on you, Ronnie. That'd be massive.
Mate, because mine's all about hope. They use the word redemption. I don't know about redemption. Mine's about just hope and carrying a message to other people. Am I sorry of the things I've done? Yeah, I am, I guess. But the truth of the matter is I didn't know any other way. Am I sorry that I was taught wrong? Fucking oath I am.
Yeah. Yep.
Am I sorry that my father wasn't a lawyer? Yeah, I am. Am I sorry that my father wasn't loving and kind to me? Yeah, I am. Am I sorry that my mother didn't give us the nurturing and leaving? Yeah, I am. But I can't change that.
Yeah.
No, the things we do is to survive. That's why we took drugs.
Yeah.
Survive the way we felt and the way we thought.
It's a good point, mate. It's exactly right.
A lot of our stuff is about survival, mate, you know?
Yeah.
Just for the day, you know, I'm a thriver, not a survivor, you know, not a survivor. I don't survive anymore. I thrive.
Yeah, yeah.
I carry a message of hope. And I love doing what we're doing now because this podcast, we don't even know. Someone will listen to this somewhere in the world and it may go like, oh, fuck yeah. I got that.
Yeah.
And that's the only motivation.
Like you said to me, you and I aren't making money for this out of this hour to give up for. We're giving this up for everyone else to learn from and try.
So now our life that we can never give back, but so now our life we can never be paid for.
Mate, you're a very wise man. I'm glad we got to speak today, Ron. I really appreciate it.
No, I love it, mate. We'll keep in contact.
Would love to, mate. Absolutely. And
from The Truth About Addiction, thank you, Todd Innis. And people here, anyone listening, please, Love Your Mind Australia. Look it up. Look Todd Innis up, mate, and say hello and reach out. If you need help, call Todd. And always about addiction, call Ron. Truth About Addiction. Love you. Thank you.
Proud of you, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Toddy.
I solemnly swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.